My fiancée said, "I've been lying about my age. I'm actually 10 years older than I said. On the day we want to get our marriage license." I sat quietly for a moment, then asked, "What else have you been lying about?" Her pause was longer than it should have been. When I started listing the inconsistencies I'd noticed over 2 years. Original post. 29 male, have been with my fiancée. She told me 28F, turns out 38F, for 2 years. We met at a friend's barbecue, hit it off immediately. She was funny, sharp, gorgeous, the kind of woman who walks into a room and every guy suddenly forgets how sentences work. I fell hard and I fell fast. We moved in together after 8 months. Got engaged 6 months ago. I planned this whole thing at her favorite restaurant, got down on one knee, the whole deal. She cried. I cried. The waiter cried. It was perfect. Yesterday was supposed to be another perfect day. We drove to the county clerk's office to get our marriage license. She was doing that thing where she hums along to whatever's on the radio, tapping the steering wheel. Normal Tuesday morning energy. We get to the counter. The clerk asks for our IDs. And my fiancée just froze. Not a normal pause. Not an, "Oh, let me find it in my purse" pause. A full body lockup. I watched her hand hover over her wallet like it weighed 40 pounds. "Babe," I said. She pulled me aside. Right there in the county clerk's office, standing next to a plastic fern and a poster about jury duty, she said, "I need to tell you something before we do this." My stomach dropped. You know that feeling when you're on a roller coaster and it crests the first hill? That feeling. Except the roller coaster is your life, and there's no safety bar. I've been lying about my age. I'm not 28. I'm 38. I just stood there. The clerk was watching us. Some old couple behind us was pretending not to listen, but absolutely listening. 10 years. She'd shaved off an entire decade. Every birthday I'd celebrated with her was a lie. The turning 27 party I threw her? She was turning 37. The jokes about us being the same age? Lies. All of it. I sat quietly for what felt like forever, but was probably 30 seconds. Then I asked the question that changed everything. "What else have you been lying about?" Her pause was longer than it should have been. Way longer. "Can we talk about this at home?" she whispered. "No," I said. "We're here. We're supposed to be getting a marriage license. So let's hear it." She started fidgeting with her ring, twisting it back and forth. And then she said, "There are a few things I should probably come clean about." A few things. Not one thing. A few. So I started listing the inconsistencies I'd noticed over 2 years, but had talked myself out of questioning because I loved her, and love makes you stupid. "Your college stories don't line up with the timeline you gave me. You said you graduated in 2018, but you referenced being in college during events that happened in the mid-2000s. She went pale. "Your friend from college called you by a completely different last name at that dinner party 8 months ago. You told me it was a college nickname. That's not how last names work. Paler. And your mom slipped up on the phone last Thanksgiving and mentioned your first wedding. You grabbed the phone out of my hand so fast you almost broke it. Told me your mom was confused. Your mom didn't sound confused. She was fully white now, like the blood had just packed its bags and left her face. So I said, what else? What came out over the next 20 minutes, standing in that county clerk's office, was this. Her name, the last name she'd given me, wasn't real. She'd gone back to her maiden name after a divorce that she never told me about. She has an ex-husband. They were married for 4 years. She also had significant debt from that marriage, around $80,000 in credit card debt and a defaulted car loan that she'd been hiding. She wasn't from the city she told me she was from. She'd moved there after the divorce to start over, which apparently meant constructing an entirely new identity. The degree she told me she had? She'd started college but never finished. Dropped out her junior year. I didn't say anything after she finished. I just walked out, got in my car, drove home, started packing her stuff. She called 11 times on the way home. I didn't pick up. I know some of you are going to say people deserve second chances, or everyone has a past. And yes, sure, everyone has a past. But not everyone constructs an elaborate fictional version of their past and lets someone fall in love with a person who doesn't actually exist. I'm not angry about the age. I need to be clear about that. 38 is not old. That's not the point. The point is that she looked me in the eyes every single day for 2 years and lied. About everything. The age was just the tip of the iceberg that sank my entire relationship. I'll update when there's more to tell. Right now I'm sitting in my apartment surrounded by half-packed boxes, and I honestly don't know what to feel. Update 1, 4 days later. So, things have escalated. After I posted, I spent the first night just sitting on the couch staring at nothing. You ever have one of those nights where your brain is doing like 15 browser tabs of emotions at once, and none of them are loading properly? That was me. The next morning, I changed the locks. Before anyone comes at me, the apartment is in my name. Always has been. She moved into MY Place. Her name isn't on the lease, which, given that her name apparently changes depending on the day of the week, is probably for the best. I texted her, "Your stuff will be boxed and in the hallway by Friday. We're done." Her response? And I swear I'm not making this up. "You're overreacting. Couples go through rough patches. This is just a rough patch." A rough patch. She invented a whole human being and lived as that person for 2 years, and it's a rough patch. Like she forgot to unload the dishwasher. Like she accidentally shrunk my favorite hoodie. No, babe, you committed what I'm pretty sure is some kind of fraud. I didn't respond. Then her mom called me. Now, her mom. Let me tell you about her mom. This woman knew. She knew the whole time. She'd been helping her daughter maintain this lie. Every time she visited, she played along. She called her daughter by the fake last name in front of me. She never once mentioned the ex-husband or the debt or any of it. And now her mom is calling me saying, "You need to be more understanding." She did this because she was scared of losing you. That's how much she loves you. I said, "With all due respect, ma'am, she didn't just lie about something small. She fabricated an entire identity. I've been engaged to someone who doesn't exist." And this woman said, "Well, you're the one who proposed. You made a commitment." I made a commitment to a fictional character, lady. I said, I made a commitment to someone with a different name, a different age, a different background, and a different life history. That's not a commitment. That's a con job. She hung up on me. Then came the real fun part. My fiancé, ex-fiancé, showed up at my apartment 2 days later. Didn't knock. Tried her old key. Obviously, it didn't work. So she just started pounding on the door. I opened it. She was standing there with mascara running, looking like she'd been crying for the entire 2 days. And part of me, the stupid, still in love part, wanted to hug her. But then she opened her mouth. "I can't believe you changed the locks. This is my home too. Your home is wherever your real identity lives," I said. Not my proudest moment, but I was running on about 4 hours of sleep and a lot of resentment. "You're being cruel," she said. "I made a mistake. You made 100 mistakes. Consistently. For 2 years. That's not a mistake. That's a lifestyle." She pushed past me into the apartment and sat down on the couch like she still lived there. Started listing reasons why I should forgive her. And guys, the audacity. I only lied because I knew you wouldn't date someone older. She decided what I would and wouldn't accept without asking me. The name thing is just paperwork. It doesn't change who I am. It literally does. That's what names are for. The debt isn't that bad. We can pay it off together. We? There is no we. Also, $80,000 in credit card debt is absolutely that bad. My mom says you're being unreasonable. Oh, your co-conspirator thinks I'm unreasonable? Shocking. I told her she had until Friday to get her things. She said she wasn't leaving. So I told her I'd already talked to my landlord, and he was aware of the situation. She left. But here's where it gets worse. She started calling my friends, telling them her version of events, which was basically, he dumped me because I'm older than him and he's shallow. That's the story she's going with. Not the fake name. Not the hidden ex-husband. Not the $80,000 in debt. Not the 2 years of compulsive lying. Just, he dumped me because of my age. A few of my friends actually bought it at first. My buddy texted me like, "Dude, that's kind of messed up. Age is just a number." And I had to sit there and explain the whole thing. Once they heard the full story, every single one of them went real quiet. "Oh, and the engagement ring?" I asked for it back. She said no. Said I gave it to her, and it's legally hers. I looked it up. In my state, An engagement ring is considered a conditional gift. The condition is marriage. No marriage equals ring comes back. So that was fun to text her. She responded, "You'll have to take me to court for it." Okay, girl, if that's how you want to play it. I've got a consultation with a lawyer next week. Not just for the ring. I want to know what my options are regarding the identity stuff. Because I've been in a relationship with someone using a name that isn't legally hers, and I genuinely don't know what that means for shared accounts, the lease she never signed, or anything else. More updates coming. This is far from over. Update 2, 11 days later. All right, everyone, grab your snacks because this update is a lot. First, the lawyer consultation. Went great. Well, great in the sense that my lawyer literally said, "This is one of the more interesting cases I've seen this year," and I could tell she was trying not to smile. So at least someone's entertained. Here's what I learned. The engagement ring. In my state, it's a conditional gift. Marriage didn't happen. Ring comes back. Lawyer sent a formal demand letter. My ex had 14 days to return it or we'd file in small claims court. The identity stuff. Since we were never actually married and the apartment was always solely in my name and we never had joint finances, thank God, I always thought it was weird she didn't want to combine anything, and now I know why. There's not a ton of legal exposure on my end. But my lawyer recommended I pull my credit report just to be safe. I did. Clean. No surprises there at least. The debt. Her $80,000 in debt is entirely hers. She never put any of it on any of my accounts. Probably the only decent thing she did in 2 years. My lawyer said some people in her situation try to get their partner to co-sign stuff before the truth comes out, so I basically dodged a financial bullet. Now here's where the entitlement kicked into overdrive. After the demand letter went out, my ex's mom called my MOM, my mother, a woman she'd met exactly 3 times. Her mom called my mom and said, and my mom recorded this because she's a queen and she doesn't trust anyone. She said, "Your son is ruining my daughter's life over something that doesn't even matter." She just wanted a fresh start. He needs to stop being selfish and think about what this is doing to her. My mom, God bless her, said, "My son was lied to for 2 years. Your daughter needs to take responsibility for her choices. And don't call this number again." I'm getting that framed. But it didn't stop there. Because of course it didn't. My ex started showing up at places she knew I'd be. My regular coffee shop. The parking lot at my job. Not like stalking exactly, more like conveniently being there. Every time, she'd try to talk to me. "Can we just have one conversation?" Just one. We had a conversation. In a county clerk's office. Where you told me my whole relationship was a lie. You're twisting everything. I'm still me. I'm the same person you fell in love with. No, you're a different person. Literally. You have a different name. She didn't like that one. The biggest thing, though, the thing that genuinely made my blood boil, happened last week. My ex went to my sister. My younger sister, who's 24 and consider my ex practically family. They used to do brunch every other Sunday. My sister loved her. My ex sat down with my sister at some cafe and cried for an hour. Told my sister the same edited story, age, shallow, etc. But she added a new twist this time. She told my sister she might be pregnant. Pregnant. My sister called me in tears. "You can't just abandon her if she's carrying your baby." I was furious. Not my sister. She had no way of knowing. But using a possible pregnancy to manipulate my family? That crossed every line there is. I called my ex directly. First time I'd called her since the clerk's office. "Are you actually pregnant?" I said. Long pause. Then, "I might be. I haven't taken a test yet." "Then take a test." "I'm scared to." "You weren't scared to lie to me for 2 years, but you're scared to pee on a stick?" "Take the test. If you're pregnant, we'll deal with it like adults. If you're not, you need to stop telling my family that you are." She took the test the next day. Not pregnant. Shocker. She never told my sister the result, though. I had to. My sister was disgusted. That brunch tradition? Dead. Now all the finale stuff. The 14-day deadline for the ring came and went. She didn't return it. So my lawyer filed in small claims court. My ex didn't show up to the hearing. Didn't even respond to the filing. The judge ruled in my favor. Default judgment. Full appraised value of the ring. $6,200. She now has a court judgment against her. She texted me after she got the court paperwork. "You seriously took me to court over a ring?" I said. You seriously lied about your entire identity for 2 years, and you're surprised there are consequences? No response. But here's the thing about court judgments. They go on your record. And for someone who already has $80,000 in credit card debt and a defaulted car loan, a $6,200 judgment is just another brick in what's becoming a very tall wall of financial problems. She won't be able to rent an apartment, finance a car, or do much of anything without that following her. I also reported the identity discrepancy to my landlord officially in writing because my lawyer said to create a paper trail. My landlord was not thrilled that someone was essentially living in his property under a name that wasn't real. He's a by-the-book guy. That's going in his records now, too. A mutual friend told me last week that my ex has been telling everyone that I destroyed her life over a little white lie. And honestly, that tells me everything I need to know. She still doesn't get it. A little white lie is saying you like someone's cooking when you didn't. A little white lie is saying traffic was bad when you just left late. Creating a fake identity, hiding a marriage, concealing $80,000 in debt, and letting someone fall in love with a version of you that doesn't exist is not a little white lie. It's a big, bold, Technicolor, surround sound, IMAX level lie. Update 3. Final, 3 weeks later. Last update. I promise. Things have mostly settled, but the last few weeks had some final chapters worth sharing. First, the ring judgment. She finally paid it. Well, her mom paid it. Because my ex couldn't. Her mom called me one more time to inform me she was covering the judgment and that I should be ashamed of myself for financially bullying a woman. I told her that her daughter committed fraud by identity for 2 years and that $6,200 is a pretty small price for the damage done. She called me heartless. I said thank you and hung up. The $6,200 hit my account 3 days later. I donated half of it, kept the other half to cover what I spent on the engagement dinner, the photographer I'd booked for the wedding, and a non-refundable deposit on the venue. Yeah, I'd already put deposits down. That's how real this was to me. That's how committed I was to a person who wasn't real. Second, the mutual friend situation sorted itself out. At first, there was this weird split where some people didn't know the full story and were giving me the side eye. But truth has a way of surfacing. A few of our mutual friends started comparing notes on things my ex had told them, and the inconsistencies piled up fast. She told one friend she went to one university, told another friend a different one, told someone she was an only child, told someone else she had a brother. The whole thing unraveled like a cheap sweater. One by one, people came to me and said some version of, "Dude, I'm sorry. I had no idea." I don't hold it against any of them. She was convincing. That's the thing about good liars. They don't seem like liars. They seem like the most honest person you've ever met. Third, and this is the part one debated sharing because it's more personal than I usually get online. About a week ago, I was cleaning out the closet and found a box she'd left behind. Nothing dramatic. Some old clothes, a few books, a notebook. I opened the notebook because I'm human and curious. It was a journal, not a daily journal, more like scattered entries over the past year. And reading it was complicated. She wrote about being terrified of me finding out. She wrote about wanting to tell me the truth so many times. She wrote about how the lie had started small, shaving a few years off on a dating app, and just snowballed. The fake name was from before me, from the divorce, when she was genuinely trying to escape a bad situation. The debt was from the marriage. The ex-husband, from what I gathered in those pages, was not a good person. And I sat on my bedroom floor, and I felt something I didn't expect. Not forgiveness. Not even sympathy exactly. Just sadness. Sadness that someone felt so broken by their past that they thought the only way to be loved was to erase themselves entirely and become someone new. But here's the thing, and I need to say this clearly because I've been going back and forth in my head about it. Understanding why someone lied doesn't make the lie okay. Her past was painful. I get that. But she had 2 years of opportunities to tell me the truth. 2 years of me being a good partner, a safe person, someone who would have listened. And she chose to lie every single day. Not once. Not twice. Every single day. That's not a mistake. That's a decision. Repeated 730 times. I mailed the box back to her mom's address. Didn't include a note. There was nothing left to say. Here's where I'm at now. I'm not doing great, but I'm doing okay. There's a difference. The apartment feels too big. I still sometimes turn to say something to her before remembering she's gone. My sleep is trash. I have about one good day for every 2 bad ones. But I'm showing up, going to work, seeing my friends. My sister checks in on me every other day, which is annoying and also exactly what I need. My mom invited me to Sunday dinner for the foreseeable future, which is mom code for, I'm worried about you, and I'm going to feed you until you feel better. I started seeing a therapist, not because I'm broken, but because I spent 2 years building a life with someone who didn't exist, and that does something to your ability to trust. I don't want to carry that into my next relationship. Whenever that happens, no rush. A friend asked me last week if I regretted any of it. The relationship, the proposal, the way I handled things after. I thought about it for a long time. The relationship, no. The person I fell in love with, even if she wasn't entirely real, taught me what I actually want in a partner. The proposal, yeah, that one stings. I poured my heart into that moment, and it was built on sand. The way I handled the aftermath, no regrets. I was firm, but I was fair. I didn't scream. I didn't trash her online. This is anonymous for a reason. I didn't play dirty. I just protected myself and held the line. For anyone reading this who's going through something similar, when you find out the person you love isn't who they said they were, here's what I'll say. Trust the feeling. When something doesn't add up, it's because it doesn't add up. You're not crazy. You're not paranoid. You're paying attention. And walking away from someone you love because they can't stop lying to you isn't weakness. It's the hardest kind of strength there is. I'm going to be all right. Thanks for reading.